So ensure that you always hire the kind of staff that you really and truly need. You need to take into account a couple of things. One, the CV is the best advert anybody's going to write about themselves. So you need to spend the time getting to know a person during that process, looking at the CV, because it's just a piece of paper. But once you've understood that you've spent a conversation with a human being, understanding how they're going to impact your business, because that's really what you're hiring for, is a business result, is to then be able to do assessments. Assessments, you don't need to go down and do psychometric. You can look at really, really tactical things about what you need to know. Once you've got that information together, you can then make the offer and get people into your organization. What's incredibly important to remember is that there's a difference between onboarding and induction. The difference between onboarding and induction is very, very important that you understand what that is. So onboarding is making sure all the forms are ticked. I've got you onto payroll. They're filled in all the forms that are required from a legislative perspective. When you come into an organization, induction is the welcome mat that we put out for you. We get you upskilled onto systems to make sure that you're not frustrated on how to find things. We get you upskilled into our culture, the way we do things, and abbreviations. Every company has its own acronyms. Understand that people need to know what that is. And that welcome mat needs to be extended for at least 6 weeks to 3 months as people get embedded into the organization and they find out how to get things done. And from that, if you get that right, your staff will stay. They'll be empowered to come to work every day. Get it wrong, and you may have gone through this entire process and your superstar person actually walks out in 6 weeks.
The systems and processes are often different in each company, and this is a really, really big one. So from an onboarding perspective, the person who's joined, if you don't teach them how these systems work, what they need to actually be doing, you're going to find that they're going to get frustrated very, very quickly. What that does is that frustration leads to stress, it leads to anxiety, it impacts them at home, and they come to work eventually feeling incompetent. All because we didn't tell them where to find a payslip or what processes to follow. So for me, induction is around systems, process, policy, culture. If you get all of that right and monitor it for 3 months, you've got a winning recipe to success.